He said, work smarter and get people to do the things that you can do so that then you can do smarter things and do better things. The other thing is passive income. Everybody thinks, oh, I'll just buy a rental property and I'm set for life. I can hang out in Tahiti. That's not really how this works.
Success to me is just being able to go to sleep at night and not have to worry about keeping the power on. So I have a practical why and I have a dream why.
I'm Zane with Zane Engineers Life. We got a couple of students in today. We've got Silas and we got Max. We'll let them tell you a little bit about themselves in just a second. And then we're just going to wrap and get some questions out of the way. Hey, Silas.
How you doing?
Max.
Yes, sir.
How you guys doing this morning? Y'all got some coffee?
Doing
Ready
well.
to go?
Some coffee.
All right.
Getting caffeinated?
We're in early on a Saturday. I managed to get 2 college kids up before 10 o'clock and into a studio. So we're going to see what happens from there. So
we're going places.
I'll give you guys a couple minutes. Just tell me a little bit about yourselves.
Yeah, so I'm Silas Whitehead, mechanical engineering student at Benedictine College. Planning on coming out and working in the industry for a little while and see where that takes me. Hopefully go into real estate later in life, see where we can go from there and figure it out. So
Gotcha. Max, what you got?
My elevator speech, I don't really know much to say except for I'm Max, born and raised in Georgia. I played sports pretty much my whole life. Also at Benedictine as a mechanical engineering student. Future in life, the 5 years down the road. The idea is, get a job, most importantly. And then hopefully if, real estate is in the future, that'd be something I'd like to pursue.
Now, that's some interesting dualities of careers. So you've got engineering and you got real estate. What's your thought process there? You just
real
saw some
estate's
cool TikToks?
It's a passive income, something that I want to pursue. It's not something I want to go off right off the bat. It's something that eventually...
When did you first hear this term that I hate dearly, called the passive income term?
You hate dearly? I don't know. I couldn't pinpoint a date for you.
it's at least, since before I went to college. I've been hearing that before. So let me ask you this. So why do you think that there's no such thing as passive income? Because you said that before, and I don't quite understand.
Well, explain to me passive income.
So let's say I own 4 houses, I live in one, and I got a property manager to take care of the other 3. I got tenants living in those 3. I don't have to put 40 hours a week into that, right? I can go, who's to say, if I want to go take my family for 2 weeks into Europe, someone calls me from my house, I say, hey, I'm out of the country for a little bit. Here's my property manager. Sure. He'll take care of everything. So how's that not?
Your property manager quit that morning and the basement flooded and the insurance decided they weren't going to cover and the note got called by the bank. And so it's completely passive now.
So that's an extremely...
You don't have to do anything.
Don't leave the country.
That's an extremely...
Plus, it completely was set up on its own. You didn't do any work to begin with. You didn't have to do any blood, sweat, or tears to set it up. It's just completely passive income. See, to me, passive income...
Well, I think we're looking at 2 different spectrums, but I'll let you continue.
Well, are we?
Yeah,
I think so.
I think there's an aspect to like a startup, and then there's like going.
I think the passive comes after
you'd
you
like
establish.
To be the owner of a business.
Yes, essentially.
Well, sure. Who doesn't want to be their own boss?
Not have passive income. See, the problem is it's gotten into the bro marketing. It's gotten into the bro code. It's gotten into, the other things you guys are hearing. The 2 biggest that I've seen in business that are completely misnomers are the complete colossal misunderstanding that everybody had of Tim Ferriss's 4-hour work week. He didn't say you're only working 4 hours a week. He said work smarter and get people to do the things that you can do so that then you can do smarter things and do better things. The other thing is passive income. Everybody thinks, oh, I'll just buy a rental property and I'm set for life. I can hang out in Tahiti. That's not really how this works, right?
Right.
Now, when you get to a point where you own 32 million apartments and you have 100 people working for you, sure, maybe it's passive, maybe it's not, because you're probably going to be working on the next deal. But to think you're going to buy something and then do absolutely nothing?
No,
I don't think it's absolutely
that's not my
nothing.
mindset. My mindset's like I make X, Y, Z in my salary, and then I bring in this much without having to attend to it too
So your
much.
intent, if you were to reword it, is to become an investor and obtain businesses
Investor
that
in
produce cash flow.
my street, not Wall Street.
Cash
My
flow,
street.
sure.
Okay. So
Sure.
just change your wording. Because when you
I
say
got you.
passive income, most people just roll their eyes and assume you're just like every other bro with his Starbucks coffee and I'm going to get passive income, I'm going to get massive guns, and I'm going to do all this, right?
Sure.
I agree with everything.
You
but
want
the
to
Starbucks.
obtain money and invest in businesses and acquire things that produce cash for you,
There you go. Yeah.
right?
Right.
So
Right.
how do you
You can
say
live
that
your
more
life.
profoundly?
Well, the problem
That's a
is
mouthful.
in your mind, you're going to think it's passive income, and it's not.
Sure.
Fair enough.
You getting what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's still work, required for it, which is understandably, but it's not as much
But
work.
you need to think about it differently, because if you go into it going, I want passive income versus I'm an investor looking for a certain return and a certain amount of cash flow, you're going to go into that two different ways, right?
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
That makes sense what I'm saying? One, you're going to be serious and run your numbers and check things. The other is going to be like, bro, I got this rental and I'm just like doing whatever I want. I don't have to do nothing. Like, come on.
Right. Sure. Okay. Sure. I got you. Okay.
All right, so we got that out of the way. You guys, we got some questions. What questions can I help you guys with?
My question was like, where did you? I don't like. Obviously, you have your own gig here, and that congrats to you. That's impressive. But obviously, you didn't start here day one. So, what was your kind of journey to here and your first job out of college? And I assume you majored in mechanical.
Further back. My dad did really, really well when I was a little kid. Mm-hmm. Right, I wore $100 pants to kindergarten. We went to the country club.
So
we had a fancy house and a nice car. And then my dad was working at a big trunking company. He had worked his way up to head of HR, and they were about to fire one of the brothers and make him a full partner. And he came home one day and he said, "I quit." And I remember the plate hitting the ground in the kitchen, and my mom telling me to go to my room while they discussed it for a little while. Right? He had decided he didn't like going to work anymore. It wasn't fun, so he started selling real estate. In 1980, the worst year in the history of real estate. So we went from filet mignon to watering down cans of soup to make 2 or 3 meals out of it, right? So my whole life kind of changed. He got into real estate. He got into building. He was a contractor. He was in real estate. He was in passive income. He was doing all those kind of things, right? Mm-hmm. And I thought, hey, there's a great spot because you can make a lot of money in real estate, right? Especially if you are a contractor, have ties to the bank, have credit lines, and can do all those kind of things that you want to do, right? You can make a lot of money there. Okay. And I went to my dad and said, hey, I want us to do passive income.
Right.
I want us to start building apartments. You build houses, and then let's start building 10% of what you build is apartments. And then as you get older, let's slide that ratio so that when you're getting toward retirement age, we're building mostly apartments. And he said, I don't want to fix toilets. Dad, you got like 5 plumbers. Why the hell would you fix toilets? Oh, well, I don't want to manage the property. You hire a management company. You pay them 10%. You do nothing. Well, I don't want to fix toilets. That's the day I realized I've got to go to college and get the hell out of here.
That's fair.
Right? Because my dad had in his mind what it was going to be. My dad was extremely selfish. Right? He wanted it his way. He could have set his family up for life. My kids could have not worked. My dad built most of the state of Mississippi, and I own no rental income, no rental property. I want you to think about that.
Right.
He worked his whole life out of negative $38. He actually got a good laugh out of him, I'm sure. He probably thought it was hilarious that those fuckers didn't get it from him, and he still owed him $38. But anyway, he could have done very well if he had thought as an investor.
Right.
Okay? The passive income approach, I don't want to fix toilets. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want it to be passive. No, you need to invest. You need to acquire properties that cash flow for you, right? That makes sense what I'm saying?
Makes sense.
Okay. So I've been on the other side of this one I'm getting at. But anyway, to answer your question, I knew I needed to go to college and get the hell away from my dad.
Right.
And at the time, math and science were just easy for me. I had a gift, so I knew I needed to do something with that. I couldn't really figure out what I wanted to do. So I got to looking at all the majors, and somehow I originally picked like civil. That's boring as hell. Anyway, I went up my senior year of high school to Mississippi State, and we were doing our schedules and stuff. I didn't know what was going on because I'd partied pretty hard the night before, but apparently they said, oh, you had signed up in civil. And I'm like, well, these classes suck. I'm not doing this. I was flipping through everything and looking through stuff. And as I kind of got to looking at it, it hit me that mechanical engineering was a very well-rounded engineering.
Right.
You literally could do anything.
Most broad of all the engineering.
Most broad. I had no idea what the hell I wanted to do. So, all right, I'm in mechanical engineering now, right? So that's how I got started. And then I knew I needed some experience, and State has an incredibly, incredibly strong co-op program. Like 80% of the kids co-op.
So our school does not.
When you come back from a co-op semester and you're sitting in class and the professor's like, this is how we do stuff, and you're like, no, not anymore. And they hand you at the time, chalk, and you would go to the board and show people what we were doing now, right? So that's pretty cool. We always, people coming in and out from industry and doing things.
Right.
I got you.
So that's what got me into engineering.
That's cool. And then where would you say your first job was?
All right, so
got out? Did you go back?
I'm Gen X, right? When we graduated from college, there were none of us. I mean, the band of us compared to the boomers, millennials, Gen X, or Gen Z, everything else, there's a very small group of us. Not very many. We all had 12, 14, 15 job offers. From taking over the paper mill to working as a design engineer to doing this to doing that.
Right.
And one of my senior professors, I had done a project and I had built this algorithm that solved a transmission. No matter which angle you came at it from, it would tell you how to then put it together.
What software?
We were building it in MathCAD at the time. That was a new program that came out. So the professors that semester decided, hey, we heard there's this new program. We think it's called MathCAD. All right, you fuckers have got to figure it out. And we're like, all right. So we ended up finding some hacked version and all this kind of stuff. You know, they had put it on one computer in the lab. And we're like, well, that's not going to work.
Yeah,
so,
awesome.
yeah. Well, anyway, we all just kind of figured it out. But I had built this, you know, program algorithm that solved everything. Okay. He called me into his office. He goes, I'm going through your senior project here, your thing that you've given me. He goes, it's literally the most amazing thing I've ever seen. The way you basically just turned it into a almost like an AI, like, hey, here's what you want, here's what you get.
Right.
He goes, the cool part is step 2, your fundamental theory is so wrong that nothing would ever work, fit. The whole thing would literally explode.
I was about to ask if it was going to work.
Yeah, he's like, but I'm so impressed with what you did after that.
It looks pretty.
Yeah, and he was like,
that's half the battle, you know?
He's like, I want you to come work for me. I was like, I want you to come to grad school. I got projects for you. And at the time, he was the main guy in mechanical engineering. Mm-hmm. Nothing went through the department without going across Dr. Jones' desk. And he's like, I want you to be my guy. And I'm like, at the time, I was dating a girl that was a couple years behind me. State was doing really well in basketball, baseball, football. I was like, so I get to hang out for another year. He's like, oh, and I'll pay you, and I'll cover all your school costs. I got like $700 a month in Starkville, Mississippi, which at the time was like $40 billion. You know, just making it rain.
Right.
My 700, my 7 bills, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was on me. Yeah.
So I said, you know what? And it was funny because the main head lady at the co-op department. So I back up a minute. A few years before that, I had completely broken the co-op program because I had found a loophole where I got classified as a higher, a sophomore instead of a freshman. And I was able to get into all these interviews and everyone wanted to hire me, but they had a rule that no freshman could work their first semester. And I literally had broken the whole system because now all they wanted was this dude.
Did you apply for more credits or something, or how did that work?
So the summer before my senior year of high school, there was this hot chick that I had spent literally 6 months trying to get in her pants. And every time, either she or I had someone else. And we couldn't ever get it to work out where we ditched people at the same time. Mm-hmm. So she told me before that, she eventually became a lawyer, very smart girl. She said, hey, will you go with me to knock out a couple of credits at the local junior college? Mm-hmm. We'll go in the mornings and then you can go work, construction with your dad. I'm like, oh yeah. Because I knew what I was going to attempt to do the whole time. Sure, right. But I ended up picking up a couple of A's and some pretty easy classes. And so those, with a couple other things that I did, managed to get me over this threshold that they since changed. Right. But anyway, so the co-op lady calls me in. She knows me first name because I broke her whole program. Right. And she's like, I hear you're thinking about staying for grad school. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, you're an idiot. No, take the job. Take the job, take the job, take the job. It won't be there. It won't be there a year from now. I'm like, you're crazy. She's like, I've been doing this a long time. Take the job. Now I'm going to grad school. A year and a half later, when I finished grad school, I went and showed her. I not only had those 14 job offers, I had like 7 more.
There you go.
At that point, I was trying to decide as I was finishing my master's degree what I wanted to do. Now, they say the more you know, the dumber you feel, right?
Sure.
Okay. So I finished my master's and I thought, you know what? If I don't get my PhD, I'm the dumbest person on earth. Because all I now saw was the things I didn't know how to do.
Right.
I got you.
Okay. So I ended up getting, and this is where I didn't know this advice yet. If you have one choice, you have no choice. If you have 2, you have a dilemma. And if you have 3, you actually have a choice.
Right.
Okay. I got 2 choices. I had an offer at University of Alabama, Huntsville to get into their PhD program and then work at a company that was supporting the space station. And I got an offer at Lockheed to work in their aerospace stress engineering program. And I got into Georgia Tech's PhD program, right?
Right.
So I thought real hard about it and ended up on a Friday calling the guy at Lockheed and going, don't want the job, appreciate it, sorry. I started making some calls. I got on the really basic internet, which was like 6 pages back then, right? Yeah. And I got to looking around and started making some calls. I literally spent the next 5 hours doing the research I should have done. And I realized I just made a major mistake because University of Alabama, Huntsville was rockets, cryogenics, shit I did not even care about. And I got to thinking about the job. The only reason I was going to take it because a buddy of mine was in Huntsville, super brilliant dude, and I thought we could continually bounce ideas off each other and maybe start some businesses. And I realized, wait, that's not for me. So I stressed from like Friday at 6 p.m. when I tried to start calling the guy back and he was already gone for the day until I got up at 4 a.m. Monday morning because he was an hour ahead of me and started calling. Now, these are the days with no voicemail, no answering machine. Literally, I would let it ring 56, 57 times and then I would hang up just in case there was something wrong with the phone and then I start calling again. And finally, the dude picks up. Yeah, good morning. And I was like, hey, you don't still have that job waiting around, do you? And he's like, yeah, I haven't turned it in. You want it? I was like, yeah, I'll be there. I'm on the way. So that's how I ended up in Atlanta.
There you go.
Working for Lockheed, stress engineer on the C5. Most boring shit I ever did in my life.
Still got the job, though. That's good.
I got the job. I wish I had.
I'm impressed you got it. I mean, he could have been like, man, this guy's a fool. Forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened to me a couple of times. I've turned down the job and then realized how bad a mistake I just made.
Right.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
That happened to be later in my career when I had that same instance and I got two choices and I turned down the one and then I realized.
Let's say you learned from it, but maybe
I did not.
Maybe not.
Well, let's go into that, right? So fast forward many years. I've left Lockheed. It was boring as shit. I've worked at a consulting company. I've helped build their department. I take a political knife in the back. I'm let go. Shit, I got a new baby. I got no job. I got a new house. What the hell am I going to do? I started looking around, start figuring out what's going on. I don't know what I want to do, right? Because I've worked as an engineer, and then now I've worked as a businessman, building a business, training people, setting up systems, doing all that kind of stuff, selling, right? And I'm like, well, I don't know which one I want to do. I eventually want to teach, so I know I probably need a little more info. So I got two job offers. I got one to build a department and build a business, and then I got one to literally be the stupidest person in the building and go work with a bunch of PhDs in engineering. And so I called a guy who had actually interviewed to work for me. He had gotten a job there. And, I'm going to build the world, and then suddenly I'm applying for a job. So that's how I got the interview. He said, I just want to know what happened. Right? And I basically talked to him for a while, and I ended up getting a job offer. Well, I call him, I'm like, Jim, sorry, not for me. All right, cool. Click. So then I call back to the other job, which is the thing I should have done first. And they had told me in the interview, we need you. I was like, how flexible is this offer? And they're like, well, we need you to negotiate. We want to make sure you're happy. All right. So I call Jim, turn the job down. I call these people and I go, all right, I want to negotiate. Here's my money I want. Here's what I want. Here's what I want. They're like, all right, we're withdrawing the job offer.
Because of your counter
We don't
offer?
think we could ever make you happy. You just told me to counter offer you. Well, we don't think we can make you happy. Cool. I just went from having 2 jobs to no jobs. Here's the really cool part, right?
So you went from a dilemma to no choice.
I went from 2 jobs to no jobs. Okay, here's the really cool part, right? Remember, wife, kid? Wife is a pharmacist. Her parents worked in education. She'd never heard of anyone being laid off. So she's already in full panic.
Right.
Now I've got 2 job offers. Everything's going to be cool. I'm sitting outside in my car about to meet her for lunch. Now I have no job offers.
Oh, man.
Late Friday. I'm calling Jim all weekend long. I get up at 4 a.m. on Monday and I start calling Jim again. He has voicemail and I leave him one. I go, I'm just going to keep calling you because I need to talk to you. And he finally picks up about 7:30. And I was like, hey, you still got that job laying around? And he's like, yeah, I haven't turned it in yet. You want it? I was like, yeah, I'm on the way.
There you go.
All right, haven't made that mistake
Carbon
again.
copy last time.
Well, so you learned the second time, huh?
I know it. Well, who knows? I went into business for myself, so I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
fair
exactly.
enough.
At least you got voicemails now, right?
Yeah, don't do what I did. Get 3 job offers and then make a smart choice, and then don't turn one down until you have accepted the other offers.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, so that's what got me in engineering.
I like that.
There you are. Yeah.
All right, give me some good life questions. What you got? Why are you guys here today?
Yeah.
Talk to
Yeah,
someone
gonna
who's
learn.
experienced in the field of engineering. Kind of just...
Why do you guys want to do engineering? Like, what's your ultimate goal?
I've always liked trying to figure out how things work. I mean, yesterday I took apart the dryer because it didn't really sound like it was working well, and
Sure.
I think the motor shot. But I just kind of like working with my hands, figuring out things work, just kind of building things.
Okay.
So why not make a profession out of it?
So you got to be careful about the type of engineering job you get, so you're not stuck in the office.
Right. I don't.
Right.
And both of you guys have thought about manufacturing, right?
More
To an
design
extent,
than
yeah.
manufacturing, but yeah.
It's
Well, those are 2 different things. So you design things for the manufacturing for. That would
Right,
be
sure.
cool. That was
Sure.
one of my first co-op, or my second co-op job was building automated equipment. Really cool.
That's neat, yeah.
Right. And installing it. And well, we were putting them in plants in Mexico at the time.
So you did the hardware for it?
They would throw us an iron or a toaster or a blender, and then we would make something that would make it.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And then we would build it, set it up, train
So you
it,
make the process.
and then we would ship it to Mexico and install it. And what was really cool, the first time we shipped it to Mexico, we got a call from the guy. He's like, "Hey, I got all the spare parts." The fuck are you talking about? We just sent like a whole. We just sent like a whole. No, we had put it on a truck that was an air rod, and on the roads of Mexico, it had literally just beat it apart.
Oh, wow.
No kidding.
So literally our whole assembly line was a box of spare parts when it got there. So then we doubled the budgets. And this is cool thing for you guys to write down if you guys are actually taking notes today. Shipping and packaging and cable management. The two things that'll kill any design project. Shipping and packaging. No one ever puts time or budget into it. They wait till the last minute and they go ship. We got to ship this on a ship.
I was actually just watching.
Might need to build like a crate or a pallet or design it to actually get it there.
I got you.
Design the lifting lug so when you pick it up, it doesn't snap in half.
Right.
Shipping and packaging, no one ever puts any money or time in it, and it kills tons of projects. Okay?
Well, I was watching the Shark Tank yesterday, and there was a product that like Home Depot and all these like mainstream companies like dropped this product because they couldn't put the packaging on the shelves. So they're like, we don't want this. We can't hassle with this.
If it doesn't fit, it's no good, right?
Other companies like. So
packaging, shipping, and then cable management. Cable management will kill you.
Don't follow what you mean by cable.
I've heard
Well,
that.
you guys have less of an issue now. There's a lot more Bluetooth, wireless, and all those kind of things.
By cable.
Yeah. In my day, imagine building a multi-directional 360 rotation and how I get a wire from one side of that to the other.
Right.
Basically impossible. Still now, Bluetooth and everything else, cable management's big because you can't shove amps across the room with Bluetooth, right?
Right.
So I got to get that cable through there somehow. I've got to power that motor. I got to power that component. I got to get my inputs back from it. I got to get all those kind of things, right? And you'll spend a ton of time and energy on that. So as you guys are building equipment, the rule of thumb used to be an hour for each input and an hour for each output, and an hour to program it.
Steady state.
So an hour,
There you
an hour
go.
to figure out how to route it and set it up, an hour to program it, and an hour to get it back out. So think about that. Most people design the component, they think they're done. All of the other stuff is what makes it actually work.
Me personally, I'd like to either get into design, but my main goal eventually is to get into engineering sales. That's what I'd like to do at the end. But you gotta like earn
and
your
have
rank.
you worked in these things? Because that's kind of the easiest way to figure out if you want to do something.
That's fair. I have done a little bit of design. We both worked in the same company. I don't know, we're allowed to throw
And
names
then the
around,
easiest
so
way to get sales experience is to start a side hustle.
That's true.
Sure.
Or just work as a sales guy in the evenings. I used to work selling clothes and selling all kinds of stuff. And if you guys want to get into real estate, now while you're in school, go on and knock your 2 classes out of the way and get easy A's and take your exam.
Gotcha.
That's what I did. I got my real estate license when I was finishing up my engineering degree.
Mm-hmm.
And then my dad was a broker, so he sponsored me. So for a while, I was a licensed real estate agent in Mississippi.
Okay. Good to know.
But you can pick up those 2 classes out of the business school. They'll have real estate law or real estate principles or something like that. Get you 2 easy A's to pad your GPA. Hang out and talk to some pretty girls over in the business school. And then,
that's for sure.
Then take your exam like the next summer or whatever. It's nothing to it.
Did you ever take your FE?
Of course. I have 40-something P licenses.
Well,
How would I have gotten out of taking
I'm not going to
my FE?
assume. Okay.
What do you think about the FE as far as just should you take it? Is it a good thing to have?
So the schools that I see, like my school, you were required to take it.
That's the same with us, yeah.
Okay. You didn't have to pass it, you had to take it.
Oh, we have to pass it.
A lot of schools now you have to pass it.
Right.
Okay. While you're in school, it's easy. Take
pointless.
it, knock it out of your way late junior year, first part of senior year. Just go crush it.
If you're going to require it, wouldn't you require just to pass it? It's kind of pointless just to say take the class if you pass.
No, because state is a very practical school. It's 80% co-op. Our senior projects are from the manufacturing plant down the street. Like my buddies figured out how to make deltas table saws flatter. You know, I helped build a stamping press. That's what we do for our stuff. So super practical. All the professors have worked in industry and go back and forth. So they know what's actually going on in the real world. A lot of them have PEs, a lot of them are stamps. So they just decided we're going to get you to take it. They knew we'd pretty much 90% pass it. Right? It's not hard. Come on. You just did that shit 15 minutes ago. Like, just finish out your test.
Right.
Now, I will give you a piece of advice on the FE, and it's probably changed some. You don't get the little book now. I assume you get a thing on the computer. Remember that anything they ask you, they have to give you the correct reference for it. So don't do what I did. Right. So I went that morning to take the morning exam. 4 hours. I was done in 20 minutes. Okay.
Wait,
met my dad for lunch, hung out. I'm a really good student. I'm a really good test taker.
You took a 4-hour test
super smart.
in 20 minutes.
I crushed it. Absolutely crushed. Well, it's the morning. It's the gravy shed. It's the triple this, that, the other, right?
All right.
Okay, nothing to it. So I get to the afternoon, it's the mechanical portion. This is the part I'm supposed to crush. I'm like, I'll be out of here in 10. I told my dad, I'll be out in 10 minutes. Let's go play golf or something. He wasn't going to do that. We had to go to work because he was a contractor. But anyway, so I get in there, and the first problem is this screw jack, and I can't fucking figure it out. It's driving me insane. Dude, what the hell? This makes no, this is, and no, that's shit. None of those answers are here. What am I supposed to do? And I'm looking around like, did I get the wrong test? Like, what's going on here, right? I can't, and then I go to the next one. I'm like, and I'm already kind of flustered, so I don't know how to do this one. I'm like, well, fuck me. What am I going to do now? So I actually flipped over and I started taking the general afternoon. Triple integrals. Is it hydrogens, nitrogens, or carbons first? I got no fucking idea anymore, right?
Right.
I'm getting smoked, right? And I'm flipping through, and I'm just banging my way because I'm running out of time. I got to get this. I just got to pass, right? Come on, let's go. And then I flipped this page, the screw jack equation.
No shit.
11 seconds. That's how long it took me to do the problem with the screw jack equation.
Man.
So there's your piece of advice. Somewhere in the book is what you need. But what's your why? What are you trying to do? You need $1 million. You just want to have money.
I want to be able to be
old.
successful so I can have a family and things
But
like
what
that.
do you
Those are
call
pretty
successful?
basic.
Like, what's
Just
successful?
Success to me is just being able to go to sleep at night and not have to worry about keeping the power on. Like
that only takes a few bucks a month.
well, then I succeed.
Is that it? That's success?
Yeah, making sure my kids can get to college, school, give them
Okay,
shoes.
we're stacking on a little bit more here now.
Well, like, that's what I'm
That
saying.
ramped up pretty
I
quick.
keep the power on, the basic necessities, getting into college,
Okay, so it's patterning and doing exactly what your dad did.
Sure. I mean, he's an influential
Is it
role
or
model.
not?
He's a role model in my life. So I would say,
So if you did everything he did, then your life is successful. You don't want any more.
Well, I would agree with that. And if I could build on from
Now,
there.
did he start from where you're starting from? Was his dad successful? And
his dad did well for himself,
okay,
yes.
and then dad's dad, like how far back? Where was the first person?
My great-grandfather left them with nothing.
Okay.
Similar to
So your grandfather built it all. He's the one.
No. Oh, my grandfather? Yeah, that's my grandfather.
He's the one. If you're pulling the Matrix example, he's the one, right?
I've never heard of them.
Now, you laugh. Ed Mylett got a really good thing in his new book on that. It's talking about the one and how, Neo and the one and, all this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And he goes, if you take any major, extremely wealthy family, Rothschilds, Kennedys, just walk back through any of them, there's one person that made all the difference, that flipped it for the rest of time. Something my dad could have done, right? Mm-hmm. Flip it for the rest of your family for all time. So why not you be the one, right?
That's fair.
Now, if you're going to roll in and barely do what your dad did, starting better off than he did, is that really success?
Listen, everyone could be like, listen, I'm going to have the biggest company. I'm going to be out there. Bill Gates and I are going to go play golf on the weekends. Okay. I can say that. Is that what you want me to say?
No, I want you.
Because I can say that. Because that'd be desirable. But there's a reality check.
Is there?
Sure. Bill Gates is going to be in a little scooter by that time, so he's not going to have a good golf streak.
You should be able to crush him then because he's old, right? There you go.
No, there's a side of that where I think you could I think there's a line to where how big is your dream where it's not reality. I think needs to be a little bit of a reality check to be like, I'm going to go conquer Mars. Now, if I said that, would you believe me? Because you seem like a guy who wants people to go out and reach their dreams, correct?
I want you to do...
I'm conquering Mars.
For you.
That doesn't sound practical.
For some... What do you mean not practical? You're saying it can't be done?
Not in this lifetime.
You're watching Elon do it right now. How'd he do it?
He hasn't done it.
Pretty fucking close.
He's close. He hasn't done it.
Everything someone's told him he couldn't do, he did the next day.
That's fair.
Right?
I respect that.
Yeah. You can't build a tunnel. Just did. Can't put a rocket in space. Just did.
Here's my why. My why is to be very successful. I'll give you two different whys. So I have a practical why and I have a dream why. Okay? Practical why, I'd like to be able to keep the power on. I'd like to be able to get my kids to college.
You don't have to worry about that, right? That's already set.
Let me get my why done. Okay? That's my practical why. My dream why would be I'd love to have a very successful business where I can make millions. I could drive around in a Porsche, have a great life like that, and be able to walk in the room, people know who I am without having to introduce myself. Here's my dream why.
So she gonna follow up with yours? You're still
I just followed my why. My why is just to, like I said, be successful, give my family a good life, give myself a good life, be recognized as someone who's good and build something. I want to build something. As an engineer, that's why I went into engineering, was to build something.
Sure.
That's why I want to build a business. I could buy a business. I could go buy a business and be successful and do that the easy way, but maybe it's not the easy way. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. However, I think for me, success defined to me and what makes me feel fulfilled is to complete a project and to build something. I think that's why I went to engineering, but also
let me bust into that for a
minute.
minute, Silas. Okay. So you're going to build a piece of automated equipment. You're going to create your own processor and controller, or you're going to buy one from Allen and Bradley or Siemens.
That's what I'm trying to do.
He's going to make his own.
You're building a piece of automated equipment.
Well, now here's the thing: if I'm building a product line that's going to manufacture a product, then I'll go products from someone else. But it's all just to build something else. Why am I buying an automated device?
You're building one.
Sure. Okay, so if I'm building that, then I'm going to buy smaller parts from other places.
So it's like building a company. Why would you start from scratch?
You're not starting from scratch completely. I'm not going to go build the circuit board and build the motherboard.
No, company. So you use the analogy here. So as an engineer,
Sure.
if I'm building something, I'm going to get all of the components that are available to me that I don't have to reinvent them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go smelt my own ore.
Sure. Right. That's what I'm saying.
Right?
Yeah.
I could.
Right.
Why not just buy the piece of steel or buy the piece of aluminum, right?
Right.
Okay. I'm trying to say the same thing for business. I gotta start my own business. Why?
Get something that's already established.
Yeah. What if you came into one and picked it up off the floor and turned it into something great?
Well, it's still building something. You're still taking something that's down here and you're building it up.
Sure.
I'm just saying I don't want to.
You're speaking to it as if you have to do it yourself to prove something.
We don't have.
This comes back to what I'm talking about with Max. What's your why? Because if you have to prove you can do it on your own, that's going to be drastically different than I want to be successful.
Sure.
You see how those two can diverge from each other.
No, I totally get that. Yeah.
You could be my dad and do it your way on your own and die with negative $38.
Sure.
Is that really what you wanted? If someone had gone back and actually had the why conversation with him, what route could my life have taken, right?
Right. I got you.
Okay, and that's why I'm having the conversation with you, because someone didn't have that conversation with him.
Sure.
What is your actual why? What is it you're trying to do? I want to be successful. Define it. What's it mean? What's it look like? What's it smell like? Taste like? What's it feel like? What's around you? What's in the bank? What are you doing? Right? Then you can actually go do what you're going to do.
But that's not so much.
Because right now you guys have done nothing but give me qualifiers of things you're not going to do or why not, or trying to explain yourself like you need some kind of confirmation from me that what you're doing is okay, and you don't need that.
I don't think so. I think you asked a question. We both gave an answer of our ideas of success and
sure.
and
I'm questioning them, right? Where they come from, because I see many times in kids your age, they parrot them from somewhere and they don't even know where they came from.
Right.
That's fair.
Right.
It's like everything from racism to hate to thinking you have to buy a house.
Sure.
All bullshit created by others. And I'm encouraging people to actually make up their own minds of what they want to do and qualify where all these pieces of information came from.
I don't think my why is defined from one piece or one source of information.
Sure.
I think it's a build up from different things that I've heard.
Yeah, it's everything that you've had in your life, right? But you do need to question where they came from.
Well, it's things you have in your life, but then it's books I've read, people from, T. Harbecker to, Grant Cardone to just different sources that I've seen from, building up from one thing to another, going from one business to another and whatever it is. But I don't think there's just one source from it. I think there's a bunch of different places you get it from. You get it from your family.
It's a melting pot.
Right. And I think that's why
you have to be.
That's what I'm saying.
You have to be careful to get the bias glasses off there is what I'm getting at.
What do you mean by bias glasses? Though?
So as an engineer, if you go in thinking you already know the solution to the test, how's that test going to turn out?
Well, not great. Right.
Are you really going to get good data out of it? Right. Because you've already polluted with your own framework on top of what's actually there. So as engineers, I'm encouraging you. I want to start a business. Don't put parameters on it. Oh, I'm not going to do that, or I'm not going to do this, right?
Be open-minded is what you're saying.
Look at my dad's example. I don't want to fix toilets. Didn't have a fucking thing to do with toilets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't in the realm of what he was comfortable doing, and he didn't want to get uncomfortable for a minute.
Sure. What are you trying to say?
He's massively successful.
So
if he had figured out what his actual
so is it deep down he's just lazy? I don't want to take a jab at your father because it seems like he was very.
No, he worked extremely hard.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So then why was it the toilets thing? Was it because obviously you're like you said you didn't have to bother with the toilets
Because he had heard from some dudes who had rental properties that they had to fix toilets in the middle of the night. When he was younger and worked a corporate job, he and a buddy had to invest in passive income, and they got a rental house, and they had to go fix a toilet one night, right? So he thought that's what it meant.
Well, what about the pitch where you said that you just have a project team or my project?
He had already made up his mind, and that's what I'm trying to keep you guys from doing.
So your father's a very determined man, but also very.
But you're
what
also
I'm trying to get you guys to do, which is not make up your mind immediately, because you don't fucking know.
That's okay, but so you keep asking me, what's your why? Then you say define it generally. Then you're saying that's not enough detail. Then you're saying that's too much detail. You need to be open minded and not have a why. So I don't understand what you're trying to say.
No, they're different and distinct, right?
Okay, no, that's what I'm confused about. I just
that's actually a really good question.
Right.
I appreciate you calling me out there, because let's clarify that. So you can have an extremely graphic, detailed framework of what it is you want to do, right?
Yeah.
How to get there is where you've got to have the open mind.
Okay.
Because you may think, all I've got to do is X, Y, Z. Well, we know what's going to happen in life, right? What if you're completely off base?
Sure.
Because to me, as an engineer, one of the things I encouraged you the other day, you said, I want to be a contractor. Well, you already know a contractor. Go talk to him and ask him what opportunities there are.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't want to work for him. You just did what my dad did. Oh, I don't want to fix toilets. What if you actually looked into it for 5 minutes and got all the information and then made your own decision?
Right.
You still have a very clear, I'm going to own rental property to have cash flow coming in the future.
It's investments, right?
But how you get there, leave open. You're an engineer. Gather data and then create an algorithm to make decisions, not emotional decisions.
Have I said how I'm going to get there, though? Because you keep calling me out on it's not. I don't know. You keep. I don't want to say disagreeing.
I hear a lot
with what
of
I'm
you guys drawing the no, I'm going to do this. No, I'm going to do that. No, I've got to do this. And I'm really just kind of digging into where that came from. Did you hear it or decide it or see it? Have you seen data to prove it? That kind of thing, or did you hear your grandfather say it one time?
Sure. No,
right?
I think it's a mixture.
Because I'm trying to get those biases and those issues and those baggage out of your fucking closet and out of the way, so we can start building new stuff.
Sure. So what you're doing is you're shedding light on the whole picture, getting all these questions and uncertainties and everything out of the way, and kind of just I understand what you're doing. I just didn't understand what you were trying to do.
Yeah. Let's get back to some questions here.
Sure. Yeah.
So what do you need?
I had a question I was thinking about the other day. A lot of people say that reading books to learn is a useless thing. You just go out and do it. And a lot of other people say, read books. It's knowledge you can't get from anywhere else. You can just take it instead of a class. So things like Rich Dad Poor Dad or 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. These books that are out there and a lot of big successful people recommend them and stuff. What do you think on that? I'm just curious. I guess it's a waste of time to read books.
What do you think?
I don't think so. No, I read them personally.
Okay. Let's get back to the answer to the question. One of the most important things you need to do, especially when you're young, is every little bit of extra cash you can scrap together, invest in yourself. Put it into you. Take a course, read a book, get some knowledge, go to see a speaker, take a test, get a cert, do an exam, right? Because you can never take that away from you. Right?
Right.
No matter if you lose everything else, you still have that knowledge. So it can never be taken away. So you get to use it from now on. Now I want you to think about the multiplier effect you can get from that knowledge over time, right? Versus taking that $1,000 and buying a dividend stock and getting $100 a year for the rest of your life.
Sure.
Okay, that's cool. But if I'd invested that $1,000 in learning how to sell, in making a connection, in meeting someone, in doing something important, right? Think about the tenfold I can get beyond that. So the early days of investing, they talk about compounding returns.
Right.
Knowledge is the most important first step. Okay, your first $10K you should literally spend on yourself.
I got you.
Don't waste it on anything else. Right. Learning what you're trying to do. You want to get into real estate, get your license. Take a course on how to sell. Take another course on how to sell. Go work for free to sell. Right. Basically, invest your time. Right. That first 10K you put into yourself. So, and everyone absorbs information differently, Silas. So reading for some people is very difficult. One of my sons has a lot of trouble reading, but he listens to 32,000 hours of YouTube a day.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So there's other ways to absorb.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Also think about, you want to always get a multiple for your time. So one of the easiest things you can do in any down moment is to absorb information.
Sure.
Right?
I got you.
Podcasts, whatever the hell it is. Books, Audible, all those kind of things. You're waiting on somebody in the waiting room, you're listening to something. You're on a job, you're listening to something. You're working out. Always get a 2-for-1.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Does
Makes
that answer
sense.
your question?
It does. Yeah.
So what do you need to know? Most people ask me for the step-by-step. What are the things that will help you?
I don't
What
know.
do you see as your next couple of obstacles?
My next obstacles, I have an internship this summer. Work to the internship, make some money, get contacts with people, and then finish up my last year of schooling, and then get a full-time job and go from there. And then I got to find out my
Who's
new
got
why
your
after
job?
that. Who's got my job?
Mhm.
Brassfield and Gorey.
That's who you want to work for?
Oh, well, who's got my job? Oh, that's for internship for the
Yeah,
summer.
not for the internship.
Well, that's like-
Who's got your job of what you want to do, making the money you want to make, living where you want to live, working with the people you want to work with? Who's got it? Are you just going to wait to the last
100%
minute and then hope they drive up?
That's exactly right.
Are they going to be on the end of the stage at graduation? Do you think that's how this works?
Well, no, but people don't really start hiring until spring. So,
Bullshit.
I mean, it's true. It is bullshit.
Is it? Oh, okay.
But main companies, like big companies, usually look for that. I want to look for sales, or at least company that has a sales department where I can work into it. So I know
do the
where I can
research
learn.
and find out who that is and start making those contacts.
Well, not yet, but
Why not?
because right now
What
my
are you waiting
path
on?
is intern. I need to find a company or intern, get experience. Then once I do that, then I'm at a
Right.
different point
This
in
comes
life.
back to the shit I was giving you at the very beginning.
Right.
Okay. And I see this a lot. My kids, you guys, the kids I teach, even my staff. If then.
Mhm.
Don't live your life if then. Oh, as soon as I do this, then I'll do that. Oh, as soon as the semester's over, I'll start working out. Oh, as soon as I do that, I'll look into rental properties. Why not just do it now? What if the job you've always wanted wants to hire you as an intern to start you now? What if they don't even want you to finish your degree? They just want to pay you $4 million to start this week.
I'd say the company's going under.
Depends on how good you are. Yeah, right?
Fair enough.
Maybe you've got some talent you don't even understand. You
Yeah.
got me?
Fair
But
point.
you need to figure out who it is you want to work for, or at least what the avatar is, right?
Mhm.
Who's the company avatar and the person avatar that you want to work with and work for. And it's time to do your LinkedIn scrapes.
I have
do
done
your
job
Facebook
searching,
stuff. Okay.
but
Not job searching, not
Mhm.
looking for jobs.
looking
Figuring
for
out
company.
who does what you want to do and then getting in their childhood birthday photos. Okay? Seriously. No. That's what you want to do. You get, and that all they know is you're around, and they don't even know it till one day they realize they need you in their life. You're at their conference, you're asking them a question, you sent them an email, you mailed them something, you showed up, you took them to lunch. Eventually you're getting the gig. Because here's the thing that you guys do. Oh, I'll wait till May and then I'll look for a job. Well, you're only getting jobs with who has them open right then. What if you just missed the one you wanted
Fair point.
because you didn't start earlier?
I would agree with that because I did get my job in fall, my current internship. So
I've got people that I've talked to for 3 or 4 years before they come and work here, right?
that I wouldn't sit around waiting.
Who's waiting? I don't
would
hire
sit-
anyone.
Sit 3 or 4 years.
I go find the people we want and I start talking to them. We haven't posted a job offer ad in 5 or 6 years.
Good for you.
Yeah. Nor will we probably ever again.
Mm.
We'll go find the people we want and start talking to them. We actually want someone to leave something to come to us. Now, we did in the prior big round of layoffs, 3, 4 years ago, we picked up a couple of people.
Mhm.
Because we had been watching them, and then as soon as seeking popped up in their LinkedIn profile, we immediately closed the deal.
Do you know? Is that saying when the last time you put up your for hire sign?
I didn't put up a for hire sign.
Seeking, not a for hire?
I do scrapes on LinkedIn, and through various keywords, I will find who I'm looking for.
Okay.
And just so happened they had put seeking and we're now open
Okay,
to
I
work.
thought you put seeking.
Nope. They didn't.
Okay. I was about to say, I'm pretty sure seeking and for hire
No,
pretty
we
much the
haven't
same
posted a
playing
job,
field.
nor would we.
Okay, I see.
We're going to go find people.
They
And
put the
you must do the reverse, okay? If you're going to wait for them to post a job, you're going to be too late,
Makes sense.
right? And I'll go back to the girl I went to the classes with
Mhm.
before my senior year. Years later, she told me, oh, if I'd known you were interested, we'd have done nothing but get married. Fuck. Why didn't I say something? Yeah, I spent a whole year trying to get.
You would have married to a
But all I
lawyer
had to
and
do
open
was
office.
ask.
Mm.
All I had to do was ask. But I had to play these games that you guys are playing, right?
Mhm.
Oh, I'll wait. I'll get to it. Oh, not yet. Oh, it's not time yet.
Trust me, I don't have a problem with asking. It's
So obviously you do. You already have
sometimes-
the job that you're looking for.
rephrase that. What do you mean?
You said you don't have a problem asking,
Mm-hmm.
yet you're hesitant to ask for the job that it is you want.
Well, I don't necessarily know what company I want to work for. I know I want to work in sales.
Well, how could you figure that out?
I've always liked having that sales mindset, trying to sell something.
So how could you find companies that...
Well, I can start doing Google searches of companies that have good sales teams.
It's almost like you could look around a little bit. If only they made devices that you could get on and search for things.
Someone should invent that.
Right? Maybe you guys will do it.
Maybe I'll get on that. That's what I'll do.
No, you bring up a fair point. Go find companies. I guess my personal reason why I haven't done that is because I don't think I'm desirable in a sense yet. Because
exactly. Let's get into that.
Don't have a piece of paper that says, "Sure, give them a job."
Well, how do you know?
Because a lot of companies don't hire until they have 2 to 3 years.
How many companies have told you no?
Well, I mean, no company.
Personally, how many companies have told you no?
I mean, when I've applied for internship or full time, because some companies will reject me.
Now you're going to tell me both. So
okay,
don't ever make that mistake in an interview. Tell me 5 people you want to have dinner with, living or dead. Well, 5 of each.
Jeff Gordon. No. So, I mean, sure, I've been rejected by plenty of internships that, you know.
Okay, but how many full-time jobs have told you we will not hire you whatsoever until after you get your degree?
I have not looked at any full-time jobs.
There you go. So how do you know?
I don't know. And I've thought
How
now
could you
since
know?
I'm in my senior year, I'll be a 5th year, so I got my victory lap going on. I've considered reaching out in like August or so to companies.
Why the hell would you wait till then?
Because then I have another internship to put on my resume to send out.
Okay.
So let's
look at that differently.
I look prettier.
Let's look at that differently. You send now,
Mm-hmm.
and then you send again with the internship, so you can show growth.
Fair point. Didn't think about that.
Yeah. And if they tell you no, you don't have enough experience, bam, bitch, I got an internship.
How about that? How about them apples?
You still don't have enough experience. Bam, here's another one. Bam, and you just keep coming every single day. You call them every day at 9 a.m. for the rest of their lives until you.
And then they block your number.
That's okay.